In today's video, we'll see some of the worst parents in the animal kingdom. Now, if you think your mother's too hard on you, wait till you see what some of these parents do to their own kids, some of which is pretty appalling. What's the worst thing that your parents have done to you? Let us know down below in the comments. I've also noticed that most of you watching this aren't subscribed yet, so if you do like the video, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It's absolutely free and you can always change your mind later. And with that said, enjoy the video. Number 10. Hippos. Hippos are one of the most aggressive animals out there, so it shouldn't come as a surprise for their appearance on this list. Yet despite that, you may be thinking right now, hippos aren't really bad parents. In fact, hippo moms care for their young for about 18 long months, one of the longest weaning times for any mammal. This is of course except for humans. But why do they make it onto this list then? Well, it's not because of the parents, but rather the calf's many aunts and uncles. For reasons still yet unknown, a hippopod will occasionally commit infanticide on a calf that has just been recently introduced to their pod. This is exactly what happened to this poor calf who, upon being introduced to the rest of the pod, was ganged up on and mauled to death by the other adults. Needless to say, the photos taken of this incident are pretty graphic as well as very disturbing. There are many theories why this kind of behavior happens. One of them states that the hippos commit infanticide when their population is too big, and another states that the calf was probably born with a disease. But no matter what the reason, this is just one of the many examples of how cruel living in the wild can be, where animals are forced to do the unthinkable just to survive. Number 9. HARP seals. While hippos are doting mothers, HARP seals are their total opposite. Don't get me wrong, they can be excellent parents, and in fact they're highly dedicated to their young, often even not feeding while in the process of nursing. The thing is, there is a time limit to all this loving care. 12 days, in fact. After 12 days, mama seals just leave without so much of a goodbye to the pups, leaving it to fend for itself. Such short weaning periods isn't uncommon in the animal kingdom, but what sets the HARP seal apart is that when the mother leaves their pups, which is, if you might recall, 12 days after giving birth, the pups are barely able to survive on their own. This is the reason why the mortality rates for HARP seal pups is a whopping 30%. These babies will be left alone for around 2.5 months, and they lose more than half their body weight during this time. Not to mention they become easy targets for predators. At around 8 weeks old, if they're able to survive that long, HARP seal pups can already swim and pretty much find food for themselves, if they survive. Number 8. The cuckoo bird. While HARP seals still bother to take care of their young, albeit for just a couple of weeks, cuckoo birds don't bother to take care of their chicks at all. In fact, they abandon them immediately after laying their eggs. How, though, you might be asking, do cuckoo chicks survive? Well, despite their mom showing no interest in rearing them, at least she looked for suitable foster parents. And of course, by foster parents, I mean other nesting birds. A mother cuckoo will stake out other nests of other birds, and as soon as the foster bird lays eggs, the cuckoo will discreetly deposit one of her own eggs in the clutch. The foster bird will then incubate the cuckoo egg until it hatches. And since the cuckoo lays up to 20 eggs at a time, it's gonna look for a lot of nests to abandon her eggs in. Here's where it gets disturbing though. The cuckoo egg will usually hatch earlier than its adopted brothers and sisters, and will immediately show its evil side soon after hatching. The young cuckoo will try everything in its power to eject all the other eggs from the nest, forcibly making itself an only child. For some reason, its foster parents don't mind this and actually raise the cuckoo as if it was their own. Number 7. Pandas. It's hard to think of pandas as bad parents, and honestly, it's kinda surprising myself here. You'd think that these endangered mammals would try to up their populations as much as they could. But being animals, they're not aware of their plight, and it would definitely take human intervention for the species to survive, and this is the reason why. While pandas usually give birth to twins, a panda mom will only actively take care of only one of the cubs, leaving the other to fend for itself. In fact, a mother panda will actively ignore the unfortunate cub, which is usually the smaller or weaker of the twins. To be fair, it's not entirely her fault. Bamboo is notoriously low in nutrients, so it's near impossible for a mother to make enough milk to feed 2 cubs. Even so, it is a harsh decision for a mother to make. At least the cubs abandoned in zoos are still cared for, since zookeepers don't have to worry about limited milk production. However, the pandas abandoned in nature, that's a different story. Number 6. Hamsters. Hamsters, because of how easy they are to take care of, become the first pets of millions of kids all over the world. The thing is, they should actually think twice about giving one of these furry, cute rodents to their kids. It's not that they're dangerous or anything, but they aren't actually as good-natured as they seem to be. Hamster breeders will already know this, but for those of you who do not, hamster mothers actually have the tendency of eating their own children. Now, to be fair, once more, it's not all of them, of course, just the ones the mother deems not worthy to take care of. Why though? Well, you see, hamsters have the tendency to overbreed, which in simpler terms just means they give birth to too many young. When a mother hamster gives birth to a large litter, it simply chooses to abandon or get rid of the young they don't have the energy to raise. And of course, rather than let that go to waste, female hamsters just decide to put their extra babies to eating them, providing them with much needed nutrition and traumatizing your child. Number 5. Tasmanian devils. If you think hamsters overbreed, let me tell you about the Tasmanian devil. First off, female Tasmanian devils love to mate. In fact, it's normal for them to mate with several males throughout a single breeding season. That's why it's pretty normal for a Tasmanian devil litter to have multiple fathers, and these litters would normally consist of 50 babies called joeys. Here's where the problem lies though. Unfortunately, Mama Devil only has 4 teats and would generally just be able to produce enough milk to feed 4 joeys adequately, so these young devils literally have to fight each other to survive immediately after birth. Only the 4 strongest joeys out of a litter of 50 will survive, and the weaker ones either die of starvation or be killed during the struggle to find their mom's teat. And these battles for food usually happen while their mother is watching. These fights are so severe that the surviving joeys will usually emerge from their dens already covered in scars. Number 4. Skinks. Lizards aren't really known for their excellent parenting skills, but many lizards are excellent mothers when compared to skinks, particularly the long-tailed skink. In fairness to the long-tailed skink mom, it does build a nest to make sure that her clutch of eggs is safe. The problem is, a mother skink isn't really particular about where she builds her nest. In fact, should mommy skink happen to lay her eggs in an area where there are a lot of predators, she will simply eat her young before they even have a chance to hatch. Experts say that this is because she's trying to save both of her young from the worst fate of being eaten by predators later, as well as restoring her own strength so she can have another go at breeding. At a more fortuitous time and place, but not for the kids. Number 3. Black eagles. Black eagles take the concept of hands-off parenting to a whole different level. These birds usually lay 2 eggs at a time. Of course, they do incubate their eggs until they hatch, but as soon as the eggs do hatch, it's basically survival of the fittest. Black eagle parents will allow their chicks to fight each other for dominance. These nest-based squabbles are common among black eagle chicks, and mommy will happily just sit back and let them get on with it. Often during these squabbles, though, one of the chicks unfortunately gets killed. It's always the stronger chick that would prevail against its weaker brothers or sisters, and although it would seem that stepping in to stop the fight might seem like the motherly thing to do, that would only mean that a weak bird will survive, a weaker bird that is far less likely to succeed as an adult compared to its much tougher and more aggressive nestmate. Number 2. House sparrows. The house sparrow is one of the most common birds in the world. This is because they prefer to live near people. House sparrows nest in holes of buildings and other structures such as streetlights, gas station roofs, signs, and overhanging fixtures that hold traffic lights. They sometimes also build nests in vines climbing the walls of buildings. They also are perfectly at home in nest boxes and will often displace competitors such as bluebirds from nesting sites. A female house sparrow is a perfectly good mother. She zealously guards her nest, almost never leaves her eggs side to make sure that her chicks have enough to eat, and does everything in her power to make sure that her chicks have a daddy. And when I say everything in her power, I mean everything. Mother house sparrows are worse than a jilted girlfriend. She doesn't take too kindly to other female sparrows, especially the ones her husband is also mated with. She will, on the regular, attack the nests of her rivals, destroying their nests and even killing their hatchlings. Number 1. Burying beetles. Burying beetles are probably the worst parents in the entirety of the animal kingdom. All kids, may it be human, animal, or insect, can be pretty annoying, and every mother will know the feeling of being pestered. Every mother will also have her own way of handling her annoying kids, but none of them go to the utmost extreme as the burying beetle. You see, this insect eats her offspring that pester her too much. First, a bit of a background check. Before laying her egg, she will find the carcass of a dead animal, usually that of a bird or a small mammal like a mouse. Once a suitable carcass is found, the beetle will bury it, protecting it from scavengers, and will then proceed to lay her eggs inside the carcass itself. This turns it into an edible nursery. But as there are many mouths to feed, one small carcass is usually not enough to feed many hungry mouths. So mother beetles will then choose among her brood and those who will survive and those who will be fed to their hungry brothers and sisters. Researchers have come to the conclusion that the burying beetle mothers kill their young who beg too much, as those who only ask for food when they're really hungry are stronger, and are therefore much more likely to survive to adulthood. Thanks for sticking with me till the end. Like the video if you do, and leave a comment. Also, make sure to check out the channel's other amazing content. As always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Later, everybody!